Hi YouTube, Ers. How you doing? I had a pretty good afternoon. Got all the baloney out of my way, let off a little steam, felt a little guilty, especially when I hear like Robin talk. I mean, even when if he swears, I mean, that doesn't even sound as bad as I feel when I do, if you know what I mean. But anyway, no, it's good to be humble. Do you guys remember that country song? Just buzzed on that. Um, oh Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way. Go check it out. It's hard to be humble. Or oh Lord, it's hard to be humble. Maybe that's it. I it's a pretty old song. I'm thinking it's like 1972 or maybe 4 somewhere. I don't know, maybe a little newer than that, but yeah, um, kind of funny because a lot of people actually feel that way. It's really not hard for me to humble myself. When I screw up, I always say I do, but yeah, that's true. Of course, God knows it anyway, so why not? And it's obvious, it's like, whatever, why hide? Why pretend? If you're crappy, just own up to it and whatever. So that's just the way I feel about it. But yeah, I got a few things off my chest. I'm watching a Robin marathon. So yeah, yeah. Seriously trying to lift some brothers and sisters up because we know that they're mixed up. We've been there, did that, whatever. So sometimes God puts some strong people in the right position to help ones that have been attacked for generations, that type of thing. Or held back and set back intentionally, of course. So, yeah. Oh, um, addressing, Robin wondered if there was anybody else on the internet claiming they were Jesus. Well, I ran across one guy. I'll tell you about him. Another one, I saw some YouTuber claiming that somebody else said they were. And of course, there's that one actor guy who says he's Jesus, and he's got a YouTube channel. Well, there's another Stephen, spelled Stephen Lawson, Lawson. Um, Also Cabal, and he was claiming to be Jesus. And okay, he wrote a book too about his schizophrenia, but I tried to explain to him that the voices that he was hearing or thought that things were going on were actually satanistic or the good side of the coin. I go, don't you remember when my mind talked to you? And I was trying to reach out to him, and well, one time then he comes up, well, he's Satan, or I mean Satan, yeah, right, Jesus, and was saving the bride from drowning herself, but he was too late. And I said, that was Satan. There's a fables, stories, there's literally Masonic bedtime stories that go into a lot of the esoteric knowledge too. Um, and excuse me, I put something in my garbage can. Well, anyway, so he was claiming to be Jesus, and he didn't say Jesus Christ, he just said Jesus, and I had to correct him on that. And before, we were friends on Facebook, and he was calling me beloved and blah blah blah, and this guy's a young man, he's 33, and it's like, I have a kid that's 33, he'll be 34 in January. My other one will be 37 in December, I do believe. God, I have to figure it out. Wait, real quick. Three. Oh, I can't do math right now. Not right now. Another day. Um. Anyway, I used to be a dealer, so I can count and add and all that stuff, but I just don't want to do it right now. It doesn't matter. He was born in 81, the other one's 85, so you do the math. Please, thank you. So, anyway, so this Stephen Lawson was claiming to be of that, and when I told him, I said, well, often on my Facebook page, I will write, you Masons on my page, go screw yourself, or, I'm coming after you, and, all this stuff. Always for somebody that welcomed me to the internet. Thank you very much. I was one of the first persons. I lived in the house of the first IBM computer that was built in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and the first video game, Dungeons and Dragons, was made by a friend of mine. And my mom worked for Control Data. And then when I was in seventh grade, I worked with the first computer called Big Blue that was in the school systems. And then the second time I went to college, 95, I think, or 95, I was online in a big way and really making some noise out there for the good of mankind in several areas. So vast right now, I couldn't even explain it and wouldn't want to for a couple other reasons. And so thank you for welcoming me here. And I've been on Facebook forever too. Like, oh, geez. I think it was 2011. So, and over here on YouTube, just not commenting, perhaps, or, but yeah, I've been around for a while on the internet, raising hell within myself, of course. Yeah, why would I want to raise hell? We freaking live here. So you got to fight fire with fire. So God said, I'm going to put some fire in this woman. So, yep, he did. I borrowed my sword out right now, but I might need that back. No, actually, I had a spare. I just let you use my good one. you know, I kept the not so sharp one for myself, but trust me, you can get hurt with a butter knife. So, yeah. Anyway, so yeah. Hopefully, people that I don't know if it's out of actually hatred for people or disdain towards another human being, that the differences in men are so vast that they can't see past their differences to um, not want to hurt somebody. That's serious. Very serious. When you got somebody saying, "Hey, I want them all dead. You all die. You all do this, that, for what you did, and all this stuff," it's like, no, that ain't cool. You know, that's vengeance is mine, says the Lord. Well, the Lord used to be Satan. He's with the small g, or I even spell Satan with the small s, you know. Sometimes it doesn't want to let me. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. And although Satan and Lucifer were the same person, Lucifer wasn't as sick as Satan. So, kind of progressively got sicker as the sickness on this planet progressed, and that's why things are so crazy in our blood at this time. So, and the more your blood has less of the cells that Jesus can contact, the more Satan's cell is in there. And then you have one that's special that Christ controls. 3 parts within that blood cell. So it literally is which beast you feed, you know, because God does not kill. No, everybody's forever. So actually, Satan doesn't either. And to him, it's a big laffy taffy game because he does not care. Well, he does now. I would have to honestly say he's starting to actually care about some shit. Which is really odd because the people that are of that anti-Christ blood are actually cruder than he is. And that's not saying a lot for them. So they think they're royalty. Lucifer was. You see? I think he knows how to earn that back. It's going to take a long time. For all that dirty blood, the dirtier you act, the longer it's going to take. I keep telling you that. You think I want that for anybody? You can pretend there's not a God. You can pretend there's not a good and a bad feeling within yourself or the struggle within. Go pretend someplace else. You aren't going to pull that on me over here. Nobody. I got rid of a subscriber today that was harassing my friends. So, and I asked kindly. I actually thought I reached it as a human being, but I knew it was into dark magic, which I already covered a long time ago. Satan was bound, and his babies think that they're not bound. They think they have some actual will, like the thought, and then it happens. But they can't do that, and they pretend they can because they have money. They can call, make a phone call, make this happen, make that happen. But in all reality, they don't have willpower. They do not have the ability to recreate themselves. And that's what God teaches his kids inside. This is the feeling, don't be afraid. You are now, you will be again. So that's a fact. And I know my words ring true for my scholars or heartfelt peoples. And hopefully those words will reach other people that I don't really like right now. And I said I didn't love you, but I do love you. I just don't like you. That's true. Even somebody that got a little bit of a chance left. I even invited you to my home. You know I'm not cold. Don't put me in that cold position because when I say it's over, it's over. And then there ain't no going back. Ask my exes. They didn't leave me. I left one and kicked. I got an annulment in the other one. I physically kicked out. So when I say done, time's up, ask my kids too. It's like when I was done with their shit and they're teenagers, young men, bye, hit the road. I don't take no guff from anybody. That's why I gave a letter of divorcement to the man I live with, because I am not of that. Oh, and by the way, there's another thing too. The name Weast translates into the end. That means the end. Think about what W's and think about DWW, those letters, what they mean, you know? So, Like I always say, I'm as serious as a heart attack that Christ is going to give the bad ones. They think they're in control of the blood in their veins. But yet people are dropping dead from coronaries. How could you possibly think you're a God and not God's child? How could you possibly think you have the knowledge to think a raindrop or think a human being or think a squirrel or, you know, or to give another human being a thought like, this is how you make paint or this is what you do there, you know, until you have the ability to actually will for yourself. That's truly, yeah, we have the ability of free will. It just is not able to be practiced because you're not that close to your Father. And you get there through Jesus Christ. You have to call on Christ. You really do. That's all there is to it because you aren't truly going to feel the feeling of being close and knowing He's there, and the feeling of like, okay, parents and children can do that. Siblings sometimes you can, but it does dissipate when you get older. But you can think on your siblings level, and you're on the same so-called wavelength. You don't even have to say words. That is how God talks to us, on that same level, just like that. I couldn't explain it anymore. If you don't get that one, I don't know what to tell you. But that is what the I'm going to call them the evil bloodline. I know that word evil is overused, but when you pollute your system so bad with lust and sloth or gluttony or whatever you're doing that's nasty, you know, if you think about killing, if you're um being adulterous, whatever you're doing, to you're literally, even the thoughts, you're literally polluting. You're putting a fatty armor around Christ's little blood cell in there and opening up the one on Satan's inside the cells in your body. Literally, physically. See, now, don't you think that fake Jesus would be able to talk about particle physics like that and articulate that and actually know about biology and physics and like gestation periods of a germ, like a bacterium, 29 days, or and this one may lay dormant for up to 6 days, and then the shell will dry open and break open, and then its gestation period after the third phase would be like 20 days. Crazy little, truly biology and physics mixed. Truly actual electronic biological understanding of us. Don't you think the real Jesus would be able to articulate that? I know when I talk to Christ, I know that's inside of him, and he doesn't have to write anything down, because when Christ's kids hear that, the things ring true, you know? So there's a little bit of science for you tonight. And when I do make my diagrams and make it all big and everything for people, I might just shut down the comments for a while, let the general public look at it or whatever, and then take it down. Maybe some of my subs might want to copy it or whatever, because I'm not out to make a lot of subs. I'm out to make Christian friends. Um, I mean, if it entails or includes tons of people, I will deal with that. I will make time. I just have other things I like to do that I'd rather not take the time, so, well, like housework and all those good things. But yeah, I would take time. But either way, it's not imperative, you know. But when I do that, it'll be a bigger presentation and it won't be on that personal level. I won't be accepting any um, feedback at all. I won't tolerate it from what I've learned in my life about human beings, the inside and out, your minds, your heart, your nerve endings, how your muscles work. I mean, things, everything, your skin, everything. So, that I've studied. Not just in humans, in all kinds of animals. So, I work for a vet too. So, I mean, oh, I raised a lammy. One time I was working out on this ranch and they would literally put down lambs that had been inbred the same as with people have diseases, more apt to have diseases in a herd of sheep, and the smaller the herd, by the time you get to say, like 3-4 generations, they get a brand new fresh herd, or a new it's called a ewe and a ram, get a new ram. And so anyway, there was this one snow white ram or little boy, lamb, and his head was crooked because he had cerebral palsy. And when he walked, he would kind of walk crooked. Well, one time my Irish setter was yelling, yelling, yelling. I had this little white bridge that went over to my chicken coop on this place I worked. And there was a creek, and my dog was yelling, so I ran out there, and here was Lammy with its head stuck in the water, and it couldn't move. What a good dog. And he grew up with a deer too, though. I raised a baby deer. But anyway, so I got Lammy out of the water, and it kind of wasn't breathing, but I got him going again, and I sat there and held him and warmed him up. And then I started I worked for a physical therapist, so I started like working on his neck. And after a while, he was actually running and playing, and his neck was straight, and they put him back in with the herd. So, how cool is that? Yeah. I don't even remember what I called him right at this moment, but he was the prettiest little thing. So, yeah, my first name, Kathleen Marie. Mary had a little lamb. I had this little rocking chair that I gave to my son, and then we had a house fire and it got damaged, and I eventually just got rid of it now about a year ago. It was like 55, 6, 7, 8, 58 years old, something like that. So, but it had a little ding dong thingy on it, and it was the weirdest thing though, because on the back of it, it had a bunny with a kite, and on the seat on the back of it. And then on the bottom, it had this little ding dongy thing that when I rocked it would go in the tune of Mary Had a Little Lamb. Had kind of a little mechanism that was like a sheet metal, real thin metal spring type thingy with like little gears, little cogs that would hit it in different spots, or kind of something like that inside this square little metal thing. Um, my mom went crazy with it, and my dad just took it apart. Kids with toys. She couldn't. I mean, she was Eastern Star, narcissistic, high strung, and idiotic anyway, so kids would drive her crazy kind of easy. So, anyway, that's my long version of not very much patience. Oh, God. Okay. Yeah. But anyway. Yeah. It was really odd though, that house fire, because I had a white German Shepherd named Butcher T that uh woke me up in the middle of the night, and they helped me save my son's life. I almost died in there though, but I didn't. And um well, anyway, I had this great big giant panda that I gave Luke and put it in his room. And I just remodeled the whole house, and it was right across from the lake, just beautiful. I could see up by the shore. I had a stork that would sit there and get little fish and frogs in the morning and in the evening, and she'd be so proud, and she'd shake her head and then show me, and loons and ducks, everything, fish. It was beautiful. Just loved it. Even an apple tree I had planted there when I was 12, you know. It's like, and a silver maple and some other trees I planted in the forest in the back. And the trees in the yard and the forest in the back did not burn. And these people say, well, how could trees not burn in the house? Well, yes, let me tell you, they do, because trees are greener. They're not always going to catch, green wood will not catch on fire. Trust me when I tell you, when I put wood in my wood stove, or I'm at the bonfire, or I have a wood cook stove, when you have to make kindling, it has to be dry to start that. If you try and start a piece of green wood, unless it's pine, but pine still, it's hard to get one going. Try a pine cone. Put a lighter on it. You'll sit there forever. You'll burn your fingers before you start it on fire. I guarantee you that. Not the pine needles, but the cone. It's more dense, so you're getting more in the wood category. Don't start a forest fire. Only you can prevent forest fires. Does anybody remember Smokey the Bear? I met him once. I met a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle too, though. That was good. Raphael. That was so cool. Or was it maybe Michael? No, it was Raphael at a store I used to work when I was a kid. So, uh, yeah, that was funny. I took my kids to see him, and my one, I've got drawings that he drew of every Ninja Turtle, and freehand, just beautiful artist, and he didn't think he was, and looked just like the original stuff. He could draw roses and all kinds of stuff. So, but then he started getting into some dark stuff. First drawing maps like Dungeon and Dragon maps, well, you know, or mythology. And I mean, I didn't have a problem. I actually oversaw his reading of whatever, like monster manuals and different things. And he was raised in a Christian home, but he went away because my Illuminati parents, I went to court to keep them out of my life. They went back into court and had it reversed. So they had access to my children, and my son got into dark magic. So there's a short one on that. Which he did try to take his life last year, and they locked him up. So, and some other bad things. Yeah, it wasn't good. But then drugs and alcohol doesn't help anybody either. You know, and when you don't have a parent watching you or even helping you if you're young and drunk and stupid, if you don't have somebody that gives a shit about you, you could be in trouble. And they knew, those people knew they were going to try and destroy my children like they tried to destroy me. But they bribed him away with telling him that they would help him go to college. So they kicked him out for having porn, is what they said. They kicked him out, which could have been true, but threw all this stuff out on the lawn and called his dad from Wisconsin to Minnesota to come and get him when this same father had left them with no shoes. We were trying to have joint custody, living about 10 miles away. No shoes, nothing to go to the school the next day. Dropped him off at my home, and they didn't see him for almost 5.5 years till the day those people kicked my kid out. Didn't call me, called the piece of work so they could work that craft on my children. So that's how they do things in this world. If you fight against Satan and the people that want to use and hurt and abuse other people, then they will destroy everything in your life until you take control and say, well, guess what? Your time's coming up. Your time's short. And I was made to be strong, just to stand up to tell you that we're stronger and smarter than you, because these things were set into play by God before Satan was even thought of. And he is a tool, literally, such as you, bad ones. Tools. Learn to swim, learn to swim. If you don't know Tool, go look up the song Arizona Bay. I think it's on my playlist. Maybe, maybe not. 42 is good too. But yeah, Arizona Bay rocks. Love it. But really, I gotta say, for how I feel right now, is more, oh, what's the name of that band? Bring Your Own Bomb. Let me see. I got it. Just a second. I got it on my playlist. I just can't help it. I gotta check it. Okay. Oh, it's definitely here too. Oops. No, no, no. Okay, wait now. Some of my songs. We got that song Creep. Yeah, Learn to Swim's on there. Um, the guy's name is Serge, and I can't. Area System of a Down. Yeah. Oh yeah, everybody's going to the party, have a real good time, dancing in the desert, blowing up the sunshine. And why don't the presidents fight the wars? Why do they always send the poor? He's screaming, you know. So yeah. Yep, System of a Down. He makes, I don't know, if System of a Down and Disturbed got together and sang all at once, them two bands, and played in the same place, I don't think a normal human being would be able to stand there without vibrating right off the planet. Wicked, and they're of God, you know. So there's really not any evil people out there that can scream like a Christian can scream. Let me tell you, you know. I might be back. I'm gonna let this go. I love you all. Thank you for joining me. Yeah, check out my playlist. It's a varying thing. Okay, peace, everybody, and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA.